Welcome everyone to Manufacturing Talk Radio. My name is Tim Grady. I'm here with my co-host Lou Weiss. Lou, how are you today?
I'm doing great, better and better.
Oh, super. We're here at FABTECH 2015, which is a fabulous show at the McCormick Place in Chicago, Illinois. We're in the Loop area. And we have got 5 associations that have put together a show for all of the metalworking and manufacturing companies around the country. They're here to see what the associations have put together. They brought in 1,800 exhibitors. And one of those exhibitors here on Veterans Day, and we're broadcasting this live on Veterans Day, is Hernán Prado. He is the president of Workshop for Warriors. We're very pleased to have him with the show. We're going to have him explain that, but first and foremost, let me thank him personally and everyone who served. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tim.
Appreciate it.
And Lou, thank you for serving as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about Workshops for Warriors. It sounds intriguing.
Well, I appreciate that. Workshops for Warriors is the only accredited nonprofit organization in the United States of America that trains, certifies, and places veterans, wounded warriors, and transitioning service members into advanced manufacturing careers. And the key thing is that we train veterans in machining, welding, fabrication, computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacturing, and their training culminates in nationally recognized third-party credentials from the American Medical Society, National Institute for Metalworking Skills, OSHA, the Haas Technical Education Center, and the MasterCam, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm thrilled to hear about this. Where did the idea come from?
The idea, unfortunately, came out of necessity. Where I'm a combat veteran. I served 3 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I was seeing that more of my comrades were dying in San Diego of suicide and hopelessness than died of bombs and bullets in Baghdad or Bagram. And I was going to change that. And thanks to the manufacturing community we have.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
That's amazing.
Now you have one operation today, is that correct?
Correct. So we consolidated operations in the East Coast. I was on active duty until 2013. So while I was on active duty, we started this school to do training. And it was like a VFW with power tools at first. And my wife said, we really have to structure this and make this more formal, right? So, I thank you, Rachel, because that's the reason we are where we are today.
Cool.
We started off in one of my garages, and then we moved to 2, and then we started renting out mobile storage units, and then it got bigger and bigger, and now we have almost an acre on Main Street, San Diego, right in front of the world's largest naval base, next to BAE Shipbuilding. Thank you very much for your support. And NASCO, United Technologies Corporation, right in front of them. And right now we're the only accredited school that does that, and we are doing a center for advanced manufacturing training in San Diego, and we're about to build the largest center for advanced manufacturing and training in the U.S. in San Diego, California.
In the same location or a new location?
We actually purchased additional land, and we're building up 3 stories while maintaining operations in our current facility. So we just bought contiguous land because we're waiting for GI Bill funding to fund our program and to give veterans access to the GI benefits that they fought for. So right now we have veterans, wounded warriors, amputees that are going through our school that cannot access their GI Bill monies and get basic allowance for housing, which allows them to live while they're going through our school. But if they went to some online school and did underwater basket weaving, they'd get fully paid for.
Well, I'm going to now start early in this
Bashing
session.
the government.
I got to bash the government. I'm the wise guy. Why does it take 8 years to get accreditation for GI Bill payments?
Well, you know what? To be fair, nobody wants to do the wrong thing. Everybody wants to do the right thing, but we're in a very risk-averse culture. And to do great things requires great risk. And what's happened, unfortunately, is that there have been so many organizations and people that have profited and, I'm not going to say abused veterans that were in a very vulnerable state and taken their GI Bill money and taken their educational future that the government thought, you know what, if people truly want to set up a school, then they're going to have to wait 8 years to prove what they're doing, show metrics of success, and show that they're actually placing people in the careers that they signed up for. So I understand what they're doing. That it's very painful at the time, but it's like you having a young daughter. Would you rather she gets run off and get married after the first date, or would you prefer to have the young guy come over 8 or 9 months to make sure he's really the guy that you want to bring into your family?
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
So 8 or 9 months is not 8 years. You know that.
But there's huge money at stake.
Of course.
And right now, veterans are it's a very sexy topic. When I started this, I founded Workshops for Warriors in 2008.
Right.
It wasn't very sexy back then.
I'm sure not.
I started this in my garage in 2003. I left the Navy in 2013 and told my wife, we're going to have to sell everything we have and create the Center for Advanced Manufacturing and Training for Veterans and Wounded Warriors. And that's where we are today. But you have to show that you're willing to put your money and your time where your mouth is, and I can understand why the government's taking so long. Although I wish they would expedite it, or I wish they had a pilot program.
Right.
But again, we're in a risk-averse society.
It's interesting because what was formerly known as SACS, their accreditation for colleges, universities, high schools, private schools, is 2 years. After 2 years, you can start the accreditation process, and 2 years later, you're finished with it. So 8 years is a little long.
To be fair, we've finished. We're 6.5 years into this 8-year process.
Right.
So we're currently waiting for what's known as the Bureau of Post-Secondary Private Education from California to approve our application. Then the federal government imposes a mandatory 2-year waiting period, which, by the way, I have yet to see in writing. I've yet to see that, and I keep asking, and I was in Washington, D.C. last week. I can't get anybody to show me that piece of paper that says you must wait 2 years. But apparently, another tribal myth, right? You have to wait 2 years before you are able to accept GI Bill funding.
Wow.
But I'm saying the whole process takes 8 years because you have to be accredited first. You have to show that you have a brick and mortar facility. You have to show that you train people. That takes 2 to 7 years. Then you have to become approved by the state, which is this BPP process we're going through.
Right.
And only then, after 2 years, will the federal government fund you. So the whole process takes 8 years.
Have you calculated out how many wounded veterans you might have been able to help on a per year basis? I gather you have.
It's
Not enough.
you know what? Not nearly as many as we should.
Right.
And it's on the one hand, I'm so humbled and grateful to the people that support us, the people that give a darn,
Yep.
that it's hard for me to really badger those that don't. They just don't know better. And it's hard to break through the noise. There's so many people trying to help veterans. How do you know who's really helping them, who's really helping themselves? And I understand how difficult that is. But on the other hand, I'm just wrecked every time that I know I've got 50 slots open every 4 months in my school.
Right.
And I've got to turn away 500 plus people. And then you get
That's amazing.
So how do you bridge that gap or not? Is this just a funding issue? at this
funding
point?
is the only issue that is keeping us from expanding throughout the United States of America. The only issue.
So you're talking about expanding your current facility,
Correct.
but you're also looking at expanding nationwide.
Correct. Absolutely. So manufacturers here, they're very, very commonsensical people, and they're metric driven.
Right.
Does this have ROI? And I'm driven the same way. So it's my money plus money that other donors have entrusted to me
Right.
to use for this endeavor. And right now, what we have to do is create the sustainable model first, and that's by getting GI Bill funding. So today alone, we probably rebuffed, gently, but rebuffed about 20 offers to start new centers in different states. Because it just costs a lot of money for what we're doing.
Right.
We have $6 million worth of brand new equipment so that we can train our veterans in a multi-million-dollar facility on Main Street, San Diego, and that costed a lot of money. But once that center is approved for GI Bill funding, then we can extend that umbrella of accreditation to every other school that we want. And instead of it costing me and us $10,000 to $12,000 per student every 4 months, it costs $2,000. So until we can leverage those efficiencies of scale and kind of hold the line, be sustainable, and then we can expand sustainably.
Now I have to ask, how does a wife react when you say, honey, we have to sell everything that we have in order to fund this? I mean, that's a bold, bold move.
I wouldn't want to talk to my wife, Jane, about that.
You know, if you've been in combat, sometimes you think, no, why did that guy get it and not me?
Mm-hmm.
How did I make it through this? How? And it's such a humbling experience to have your wife do that for you. When I came back from my first combat tour in Iraq, one of my friends growing up in the Marine Corps,
right?
Now here we are 7 years later in Iraq, and he's a really in shape staff sergeant in the Marine Corps, hoorah, motivated, and we're in Iraq, and I rotate out in about 2-3 weeks. I'll see him and say, hey John, I'm looking forward to seeing you when we come back to the U.S. He goes, me too. I leave in 2 weeks. I say, I'm leaving today. We'll see you in a bit. Great. Fast forward, I'm working in Washington, D.C., over at the Vice President's residence, and as part of my duties, I was working at the National Naval Medical Center, and I see all these wounded warriors, but it just didn't hit me. Right? I see veterans, it didn't hit me. But my wife and I are walking through Montgomery Mall in Washington, D.C., are right in the outskirts, and we're just walking along, and all of a sudden this kid comes up to me and says, Doc, hey, would you please be at my wedding this week? And I said, John? Yeah, of course. Get up and give me a hug, man. This is the guy that I had just seen. I said, oh, I can't, Doc. I said, what do you mean? I looked down, and he didn't have legs anymore.
Wow.
And I could just see his whole future. Because we had just been in Iraq a couple weeks ago.
Right.
I just saw his whole future demolished. I knew he wanted to retire from the Marine Corps. I knew his whole plans, everything, and I was just witnessing the destruction of that young man's future. And
incredible.
I said, yes, of course. And he wheeled away, and here I am, tough guy, combat veteran, and my knees just gave away. And I grabbed my wife on the way down, and I said, we're going to sell everything we have, and we're going to create a center. It's going to be the center for advanced manufacturing training. I'm not going to let that happen again. And to her credit, she said, of course.
That's great.
So
when do you break ground on the new building? Or have
we get $2 million, how's that?
Oh, okay.
Let me see what I can do.
That's one of the things that I would love your help. I'm so blessed and honored to see how many Americans want to help veterans, right? But wanting to help a veteran doesn't turn them into a machinist or a welder or fabricators.
Right.
We were very fortunate in getting $2 million, and that helped us purchase all of the land that we now occupy on Main Street, San Diego. That was phase one of our capital campaign, and we had to do that quickly because our lease expired, and we would have had to rebuild this whole facility, and that would have jeopardized our GI Bill application process.
Right.
You can't move while you're in the midst of this application. Now you have to restart. So that's the next step. We've been fortunate to have a $500,000 challenge grant from Reliance Steel and Aluminum, in which case they will donate dollar for dollar any amount that's donated to our program, if it's within the steel building industry. And Gene Haas Foundation has donated another $500,000 for operating expenses, because if not, you cannibalize one to support the other.
Right.
But we really would like to see either people supporting scholarships, which are $25,000 a year, to provide this support for veterans, or maybe larger organizations that would like to have naming rights on this building. The idea is that we were to travel back in time, and 150 years ago, I'd said, hey Tim, I have this letter, and I would like you to mail this letter to California for $1.50. You would have said, you're out of your mind. It's going to cost We got to build roads, we got to coach. It's going to be like $25,000. Fast forward until today. So what I'd like to do is change this and have, instead of this myopic vision, which America has kind of lowered her gaze, I want America to regain her role as the world's advanced manufacturing superpower. And I want us to fail, if we fail, due to the fact that we've maybe shot too high, and not because we have a staggering lack of vision. So we need to have people step up and help us and realize that this is an infrastructure that's required throughout America. There are 2.3 million advanced manufacturing jobs that are unfilled due to lack of skilled labor. We have 1 million veterans that are from 18 to 34 years old that are transitioning over the next 5 years. Does anyone else not see this fit?
Yeah.
Right?
We've talked about this on previous shows.
We talk about it all the time.
And so, again, as a result of the support that the manufacturing community has given us, then we're able to get veterans training on top-of-the-line equipment from Amada, Haas Automation, beaten benders, sandbags, stair. I don't want to go further because I will offend people whose names I don't include.
Right.
But we're the school that America built. I would love it if Americans could say, here's $25,000. I want to put that kid through school. Or I don't have that money and I understand, but I'm going to donate $1 a month. Go to wfwusa.org. It's not hard.
Right.
That makes a huge difference. And together, we can create the center for advanced manufacturing training that's going to place veterans into careers that they deserve and that we owe to them. And it's going to give America the workforce that she needs.
Clearly. Now, question for you. You said you'd love to have our help.
Absolutely.
Give us some ideas how.
Thank you. I would love it if we could ask your listeners to help donate $1 per month. Talk to your congressman and senator. Tell them if you have a need for employees or trained employees, if you want to help veterans, if you love America, talk to your congressman, talk to your senators. But more importantly, do something. Do not have apathy. Do not allow yourself to be hemmed in by your own ambitions and abdicate your responsibility as a citizen of this great nation. Do something. Commit. Give us money. Come in, volunteer. Connect us with someone that you know can either help us financially or with connections. Because as soon as we go through this GIBO funding, we have an obligation to start other facilities throughout the U.S.
Right.
And we would love to do that, but we need champions in different organizations. So if you want to give money, give money. If you want to give talent, give talent. We need everyone to come together for this.
Well, we can talk to you more when we're not on the show about some ways that we can get involved with you. I mean, this whole thing about Manufacturing Talk Radio is exactly about getting involved in helping manufacturing, and this is certainly one sector to help veterans and also to pick up 1 million people, to put them in jobs where we're already short 3 million, and then some of the old guys like me are going to ultimately retire, not me. And I'm going to probably throw $1 or $2 in for myself.
Now, you brought up an interesting point when we were talking to you earlier.
Please.
We're talking about, let's try to reach kids starting as young as the 3rd grade, get them into manufacturing. Well, there's a few years before they get to manufacturing. You solve that problem how quickly?
4 months.
4 months. So you take a already trained individual who happened to be trained in the United States military.
Correct.
And train them into being a welder, a machinist, and in 4 months, not 4 years or 14 years,
Exactly.
you have a solution to a problem.
Exactly. See, our challenge today is it's hard to figure out exactly what to do for most people.
Right?
I am laser focused on what we're doing, which is we train, certify, and place people into advanced manufacturing careers in welding, machining, computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacturing, machinery repair. But we have this phenomenal pool of talent, which is veterans. And now it's transitioning service members within 6 months of leaving the service. We're able to bring them into our school and train them, get them certified in these nationally recognized credentials, and place them into careers. Our courses of instruction are 16 months long. broken up into 4 4-month semesters. But not all veterans can afford to be out of work for 4 months.
Right.
So sometimes they go through the 4-month section, they go off and get a job at $18 an hour, and then they may come back, or they may not come back at all. And others will stay through the full 16 months, start off with a $25 an hour job. People that have never touched a mill or lathe don't even know what manufacturing is. And they come out at the end competent in that particular technical field, but most importantly, bringing with them all the soft skills that every employer that I've ever spoken to loves.
Right.
Drug-free, on time, can communicate, accountable, responsible, knows how to work as part of a team, and they're competent in their field of study. Beat that.
Yeah, very true.
Right?
Yeah. No, that's excellent. That's excellent. Hernán, I understand that here at FABTECH you were just the recipient of an award. Can you share that with our listeners?
Absolutely. In fact, we were honored by WEMCO and the American Welding Society as the best educational training facility in the U.S. And Workshops for Warriors was awarded today at 12:30 here in Chicago. But even more importantly, and what I'm even happier, is that our Dean of Welding, Lyle Palm, was chosen as the best veteran welder instructor in the U.S.
Wow.
And just to give you an idea of the level of commitment, Lyle Palm is a U.S. Navy veteran, retired as a senior chief. He works 8-hour days, and then he comes to our school and teaches another 5 hours every day for the last 5 years.
Incredible.
That's quite a commitment.
It is amazing. We're honored to receive that award, and I'm honored to have Lyle, his brother Tim Palm has been a welding instructor for 3 years, and all the other volunteers and staff members that make this school the best in the world.
Now, what are some of the other pieces or components that you train to? Run down that list for us.
I'd be happy to. So we are certified as a SolidWorks testing and training facility. We were just recognized as SolidWorks' worldwide center of excellence for reverse engineering and modeling. And in fact, we trained the youngest certified SolidWorks associate in the world at 16 years old at our facility as part of a private pilot program.
Great.
We're certified as a Mastercam University testing and training facility. We're certified from the American Welding Society as a testing and training facility, and we are their West Coast Center of Excellence for welding, and today we were honored as best welding school in the U.S. We're certified through the National Institute for Metalworking Skills. We're certified through OSHA. We were certified through Snap-on to provide torque meter, and electrical meter and safety certifications. We're certified through Flow WaterJet for WaterJet operator credentials. We're certified through Amada America to train, certify, and give Amada CNC laser credentials, which means that a kid that leaves our training program has a driver's license to operate $1 million Amada CNC laser. Well, if you think about it, you're a mom and pop shop, and you know how it is with your wife, or I know how it is with mine. You say, hey, sweetheart, we're going to buy $1 million CNC laser because I think we're going to be able to make money without a Amada laser. And then she says, you're crazy. And then all of a sudden you have it on your shop floor, and then you have all these people come in, and who's going to drive your baby?
Yeah, right.
And one of our guys or gals comes in and says, look, I've got a license from Amada saying I can drive that. 100% placement. That's what makes people understand that what we're doing is relevant. Same with the Flow WaterJet. We certified to the Haas Technical Education Centers. We're West Coast Center of Excellence. And we train and certify on the best and latest Haas 5-axis mills and Haas 5-axis lathes. And our students, they can operate $1 billion aircraft. They can operate this $250,000 to $300,000 machine.
Shoot.
But you know what I love about our vets is that when they graduate and they go to a company, I'll see them come back. We call them retreads. They'll come back later on, and they'll bring their bosses with them because their bosses won't believe them, right? Because most people that own machine shops are in levels of responsibility are closer to 70 than they are to 20.
Right.
And so this closer to 70-ish-year-old person normally has a trusted agent.
Be careful.
But my mentor Dick Eager just turned 70, and if it weren't for him, we wouldn't be where we are. But this 70-year-old person, they have people that they trust in their manufacturing shop, and they're going to bring them. But those people know what they knew 40 years ago and have been doing it for 40 years.
Right.
So when our kid tells them, hey, hey boss, we can do that about 150 times faster. Nah, you're crazy. No, come down to my school. Let me show you. And then they operate this $200,000 fully automated bandsaw from a Hemsaw, right? Another Army vet that donated to us. Brand new saws. It's an amazing opportunity to kind of build on tomorrow's technology today, and you're able to give not only a future to one of our graduates, but you're giving that potential to that new employer an opportunity to kind of catch up with that 40 years of technology that they may have missed with an operator that can run it, train others how to use it, and maintain it. And that's what I think has been the force multiplier, that was what we call it in the military.
Right.
So we're building the SEAL team of manufacturing. And that's been incredibly helpful.
That's terrific.
And these companies have been phenomenal. Not only do they give us equipment, they give us training, they give us the opportunity to certify, they bring instructors down, they give us money, they provide scholarships for our students. They have borne the brunt of the manufacturing industry's responsibility for too long, and I would love to broaden that aperture. I really would.
Well, we'll certainly work with you to help you accomplish anything we can help you accomplish in your mission.
Well, I appreciate it.
So count us in.
You know what I would love? 150 years from now, I would love people to look back and say, you know that talk shop that they did at FABTECH? I think that right there was the genesis for America's manufacturing renaissance. That right there. I think that was the birthplace right there.
That'd be great.
And don't forget about the yellow jackets.
That's what I'm saying at this talk show. Thank you.
Okay, great.
We cover everything you wanted to cover?
I think if your readers could understand that it's on them and on us to rebuild America's manufacturing workforce, one veteran at a time, and it's on everyone to shoulder a small part of that load. I think together we're going to do great things.
Great. Okay.
Well said. Thank you.
That's excellent. So we'll have to chat offline, see what we can do with your organization and our organization. Love to work with you any way that we can.
Thank you so much.
So we'll spend some time, a few minutes chatting here today after we go off air.
Thank you.
And then we have to follow up and stay in touch, because I think there's a lot of things out there that we can do together.
I really appreciate it.
Love to do them. Love to do them.
Be our honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So
for
we've
your
been
time.
talking with Hernán Luis de Prado, who is the president of Workshops for Warriors. We are going to make a special effort to put some additional information on the Manufacturing Talk Radio website about Workshops for Warriors. And as Lou and I sit down after we're off the air, we'll talk about some programs and get that information out to our readership of 50,000. And anything that we can do, we'll be doing for this organization. That wraps us up for this episode.
Excuse me.
Lou, please.
And it won't take 8 years.
No, it won't take 8 years.
Thank you.
At Lou's speed, we're already late.
Yeah.
We're already behind the curve. So we look forward to it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for having me.